Hello everyone, welcome to Strive Edge IAS Academy. Today I will be examining the recent unprecedented diplomatic incident that has taken place between the President Trump and the Ukrainian President Zelensky yesterday in the Oval Office in the USA. This represents a significant shift in the US-Ukraine relations with which having a potential global implications as well. So let us begin our class about this particular incident. If you have been following the news, yesterday night, especially in the social media platform that is the X or the Twitter, you might have come across this multiple videos where you have seen the President Trump of USA as well as the Vice President JD Vance along with the Ukrainian President Zelensky. Heated argument has broken out. As you can see here, the gestures in any diplomatic relations as well as the diplomatic programs where the head of the states will be involved, every hand gesture, even a shake hand, even a pat on their particular shoulder or any particular eye contact that they are making, even a use of a goggles, simple use of a material of a cloth, everything will have a significant position on the particular role of the negotiation that is going to be taking place, as well as the what are the each particular element that is indicating the how this particular relation is going to be. But yesterday, as you can see here in this particular incident, you can see that the Ukrainian president has been pointing out and arguing some element with the Donald Trump, where Donald Trump being dictating the terms or commanding his position bluntly with the Ukrainian president. And in the second image, as you can see, the Vice President JD Vance as well as the President Donald Trump has literally schooling the President of the Ukraine here in this particular photo. This photo has been circulated in the social media platforms and being termed as a proper schooling to the Ukrainian President. So now what we will be understanding in this particular video is what are the key developments that has occurred yesterday in this particular confrontation with the Ukrainian president. Now this represents a hostile confrontation where the meeting between the President Trump as well as the President Zelensky has developed into an extraordinary shouting match in the Oval Office. With cameras being capturing this particular entire incident, American president has openly berated his Ukrainian counterpart. That is why it is an hostile confrontation by the Trump to Zelensky. Also, the President Trump as well as the Vice President Vance has repeatedly criticized Zelensky for supposedly lacking any gratitude for the American support that has provided in the past 3 years. For example, you can see when the Vice President Vance has directly asked, "Have you said thank you once?" This is the question that has raised by the Vice President to the Ukrainian President, while claiming that Zelensky was being very disrespectful. These are the accusations. That means here thankfulness is there or not, that is being asked. So next is the ultimatum that has been issued, where the President Trump has presented Zelensky with a stark choice regarding the peace negotiations, where he bluntly stated that you are either going to make a deal or we are out. This is the exact words that are said by the Donald Trump. He also stated that without the US support, Ukraine's position would deteriorate significantly. So this means make or break. This is being appeared in this particular incident. Next, this is a diplomatic breakdown. The Ukrainian delegation was asked to leave the White House prematurely, and the scheduled lunch which has remained unserved, and also the planned joint press conference after this particular negotiations was also cancelled, and a minerals access agreement which was supposed to be signed in this particular negotiation was also kept unsigned. This means this is a complete diplomatic breakdown where the entire ambitions of why the president of Ukraine is present in the USA has been shattered with one particular incident. Next is about the public rebuke. Following this meeting, Trump posted on the social media that Zelensky would not be welcomed back to the White House until he was ready for the peace, effectively conditioning that the future diplomatic engagement is not going to happen. So this is the outright public rebuke that has taken place. And also there was some criticism from the democratic government, that is the opposition, the prime opposition in the USA, that is the Democratic, where the Democratic leaders, including the Senator Jack Reed, he characteristically said the meeting as a political ambush and a shameful failure of the American leadership. Whereas in particular video, the Trump was seen outrightly blaming this particular failure of the American leadership in this particular incident on the two Democratic leaders, who are the Joe Biden as well as the President Obama. So this means it has risen into a political clash of USA. And finally, the future seems uncertain, whereas this confrontation has created a significant uncertainty about the continued US support to the Ukraine and also the future trajectory of peace negotiations which are going to take place with the Russia. So this is what the entire key development that has taken place in the Oval Office yesterday. Now let us see about what is the international significance of this particular incident. First important is the diplomatic precedent, because this particular incident represents an unprecedented breakdown in a diplomatic protocol, where the US president publicly berated a visiting head of a state, that is the President Zelensky, dealing with an active conflict. Now this incident signals a dramatic shift in how the US is going to conduct its foreign relations in the future. So this is a diplomatic precedent, that is in the media, directly media. It has been published, and also it has been a highly breakdown of the protocol. Next, it indicates a power dynamic shift that is happening in this particular arena. So this confrontation publicly, which has happened publicly in front of the media, demonstrates a realignment of power relationship between the Western allies as well as the Ukraine, where the potentially this has led to the weakening of the Ukraine's negotiating position with the Russia. Now US versus this Ukraine conflict, Russia's power has increased in negotiation. Also, the next important factor in this is NATO alliance. Now this incident has created a significant tension within the NATO alliance, where many European members have maintained a steadfast support for the Ukraine, which is in contrary to the Trump's apparent position. That means the NATO clash within. There is a clash within. And the final importance is the public division between the US as well as the Ukraine will likely strengthen the Russia's position. As we have discussed that when there is this division between these countries which are on the same side for the past 3 years, will bring the Russia on a very strong position and may also encourage Putin to take some hard line in any future negotiations. So he will not be coming down on any particular negotiating element. That is what we can expect from the Putin. Next, why this particular significant stance has been taken by the US, that we will be discussing. Why this particular US position, that is the America First foreign policy, where the foreign policy of the country is primarily focused on the domestic forces. So the Trump administration appears to be prioritizing a swift end to the conflict over Ukraine's territorial integrity. He is feeling that end of this conflict is more important than the Ukraine's territorial integrity. And along with this, the Trump's consistent campaign has promised to focus only on the domestic issues. The second important factor is the financial burden concerns. Trump as well as the Vance both has emphasized on the gratitude. This reflects that their position that US has provided disproportionate financial support without any adequate recognition. They feel that they have given all these remedies to the Ukraine without any recognition for the US in this matter. Next is about the peace at any cost. The Trump administration seems willing to pressurize Ukraine towards a peace deal regardless of its terms, so which prioritizes the conflict resolution over any Ukraine's long-term security interest. So at current position, USA is not offering any security guarantees to the Ukraine. So that is what Ukraine is claiming. They want some security guarantees from the United States so that they will be signing this particular peace deal. Next is the anti-escalation stance. Now, Trump has explicitly mentioned that he wants to avoid the World War III. This indicates that there is a concern that continued support for the Ukraine will risk the US being drawn into this broader conflict with the Russia. So, they don't want USA versus Russia or the World War III. This is what indicates from the words of the Trump. Next is what is the response from the Ukrainian as well as its allied side. So there is a resistance from the Ukrainian president. The Ukrainian president Zelensky has maintained his position during the confrontation, stating that I am not playing cards, indicating that he is not here to play any cards and he is outrightly for the people of the Ukraine. So that is what the resistance has maintained by this President Zelensky throughout this entire confrontation. And when Trump suggested that Ukraine lacked leverage, indicating that Ukraine remains unwilling to accept unfavorable peace terms. So they said that we are not going to accept any unfavorable peace terms, even when Trump was indicating that Ukraine have no leverage in this particular situation. That is what the resistance shown by the Zelensky. Next, there is a European concern attached to this. Now, the French President Macron as well as the British Prime Minister Starmer both are visiting this White House simultaneously in the past few days. In order to, there was hope that they want to secure a continued security arrangement for the Ukraine from the USA. Now, this particular incident outrightly clashed all these particular expectations from the USA. So that is why the European powers are in a concern. Next, what is the NATO solidarity now? So this incident raises questions about whether European NATO members will remain support for the Ukraine even if US withdraws or significantly reduces its commitments. What they are going to do? Either they are going to continue the support or reducing the commitments when US withdraws its support for the Ukraine. This is a bigger question in the NATO. And the final one is the domestic pressure is there on the Zelensky. Now, Zelensky is facing a increased pressure domestically as his ability to secure the continued US support appears compromised. Now, he being in an open conflict directly in negotiation with the Trump, this indicates that the Ukrainian people are losing trust on their president in able to secure some support from the US. So that is why he is getting resistance from his own people as well. Now, after all this incident, what we can expect, what we have to look for in the future. So the first important is there should be some diplomatic reset. Ukraine may now need to recalibrate its diplomatic approach with the Trump administration, and potentially this includes that giving some public expressions of gratitude, also expressing that they are open to the negotiation. That is what they need. So that is gratitude, public expression has to be done, and then openness to negotiations in future. This has to be done. And the first thing has done by the Ukrainian President Zelensky through his official X account, that is the Twitter account. He has posted that the people of Ukraine are very thankful for the people of America, indicating that any particular confrontation between the heads of the state does not reflect the emotions that are attached between the peoples of these both countries. Next important way forward is European partnership. Ukraine now has lost the support of the US in this particular conflict. Now Ukraine will likely to seek the bilateral relationship, strengthening of the bilateral relationship with the other European powers in order to offset this particular reductions in the US support that is there. So strengthen relation with Europe nations. Next is about the peace terms exploration. Now this particular incident may force Ukraine to more seriously consider about the peace terms it would accept, even if it is falling short of its full territorial restoration. So even at the loss of some particular territory also, now this particular incident will force Ukraine to consider about the peace terms. And finally, the global security implication. The international community must consider the broader implications for the global security norms now. Because if Russian territorial gains achieved through this particular invasion or the use of force are effectively validated by the major countries such as US by pressurizing the conflicted country Ukraine, this indicates and this raises a serious question of global security implications it going to have on the entire world. That is what we have discussed in this particular video. This diplomatic incident now will represent a critical juncture in this Russian-Ukraine conflict, and this dramatic shift in the US policy challenging the long-standing assumptions that Western unity, and it also raises some fundamental questions such as what is the future of Ukraine's sovereignty, and also what is the future of the international security frameworks. So that is what it is being discussed as well as achieved by the particular yesterday's confrontation. So with this, let us end our session here. So thank you for watching, and if you are liking our particular initiatives, please like the video, also subscribe to our channel and share with your fellow aspirants who are preparing for this examination, and also comment your views on this particular incident in the comment section below. And finally, please follow us on Telegram and get different kind of free materials, also some of the paid courses which are available from our institution in this particular Telegram header section. Thank you.